problems actually don't start out expensive. Normally, the way it starts is you see a little bit of cloudiness in the eyes, but the dog's not showing pain or anything like that. You see a little bit of you might see your dog scooting on the floor, and you might not think it's anything serious. Love the cats, pretty hilarious. And then you see a little brown staining under the eyes, and again, you're not thinking it's anything out of this world. Most dog owners ignore those signs until they actually become a bill, right? That's normally how it works. You're thinking, oh, well, it'll go away or change the food, and it doesn't. So tonight, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you 3 small problems, what they may be telling you, and the simple fixes most owners never even think about. Simple fixes, especially the one with the cloudy eyes with your older dogs. Here's a very important disclaimer before we continue. This is not a replacement for your vet. This is nothing more than preventative action. So if your dog has pain, swelling, bleeding, vision loss, eye discharge, infection, or cannot poop normally, please take them to the vet. This live is about early support and prevention, like I said. Without further ado, let me bring my dude, my co-host with the most money, Mizite. Money Mike, what's going on, man?
What's going on, fam? Yeah, this is a great topic, man.
Yeah, man. Look at you with that nice spiffy little green screen in the background. I love it, man. Good stuff, man. So I decided to go ahead and put this picture up so that when people tune in, they know exactly what we're talking about. This eye cloudiness thing is one of those things that really, really bothers me, because it's one of the things that you could prevent in one of the most easiest of ways. By the way, let me stop myself and say Happy Father's Day to all you fathers out there. We got Miss Shatry over here saying Happy Father's Day. You got it. Navy's in the house. NY, New York City in the house. I don't know what SI is, but okay. My Knicks did it. All right. Congrats to the Knicks. Shade Tree, happy. We got Insta happy Father's Day. New Blood Kennels, happy Father's Day. Prater King Bullies, good evening. QBM fam. Billy Wanton, happy Father's Day, everyone. Thank you, man. Raymond Bulls, hope everyone's having a great Father's Day. Likewise. Jose Hernandez, happy Father's Day. Bully fam, you got it, man. But listen. I love it. Listen to all the fathers out there and the fur fathers out there, right? Because there's fur moms. Everybody talks about fur moms and this and that. What about the fur dads, man? They gotta clean and usually end up paying the bills and whatnot, right? So long story short, I've been seeing a lot of this right here. And it's really, really sad to see your 6-7-year-old dog start getting cloudy eyes with something that's simple to prevent. Let me give you a little bit of insight on the cloudy eyes, Mike. They're not always from just old age, by the way. What owners typically notice is that fogginess that you're seeing there. The eye starts looking a little bit blue, maybe a little white, maybe even a little hazy. The dog may still act normal, run around, not bump into anything, and you're cool. Owners wait because the dog doesn't seem like it's in pain or it's affecting the dog in any way, shape, or form. The simple support that I've been talking about to get this fixed is nothing more than antioxidant support. It's really that simple. So the eye is like a clear window, right? And oxidative stress can damage delicate eye structures over time. And that's the majority of the times, that's what's happening to your dog's eye. Over time, there's oxidative stress. And the only way that you're going to counter that oxidative stress is going to be with antioxidants. Does it have to be NuVet, right? Somebody's probably asking that right now. The answer is no. It doesn't have to be NuVet. It could be blueberries, strawberries, things that dogs can eat that bring antioxidant support. Now, here's the important part, and here's why I tell people all the time, it's why I'm on the NuVet bandwagon. If you're not willing to go to the supermarket and make sure you got blueberries on board when you're feeding over and over and over again, if you're not consistent, then by all means, you definitely want to go ahead. Oh, my bad. You want to go ahead and get Nuvet NuJoint DS. Okay. And that's just to protect your dog, because simple antioxidants will prevent the cloudiness in the eyes. If you look at my boy Raul, for example, he just turned 9 years old, by the way, and so did my girl Aruba, who, by the way, I just had to take last Friday to get surgery, and I'll give you guys a little bit of insight on that. But neither one of them have cloudy eyes whatsoever. And is it because I have a magic pill? Is it because, no, it's none of that. It's about consistently giving my dogs antioxidants. Being consistent. By the way, let me make sure I say this so no one is feeling misled in any way. I am not saying that if your dog has cataracts or eyes are already blurry, that you could just feed them a ton of antioxidants and you're going to fix it. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying, and I started out saying this is more for preventative measures, is start giving it to them now, so that you don't get to the point where the eye starts becoming cloudy. Mike, do you have any dogs with cloudy eyes, man?
I do not.
Good. I'm glad to hear that, man, because unfortunately, cloudiness, a lot of times, owners report as it appearing suddenly. We all know it's not sudden, but by the time you're seeing the cloudiness, it does seem to come on within a 60 to 90 day window, and that's the type of suddenness that they're talking about. Here's the sad part about cloudy eyes, right? It gets worse fast. So it starts out a little cloudy, and within 90 days, you may have full-blown fog in the eye. The dogs sometimes do act like it's painful. You may start seeing watering out the eye, or the dog not wanting you to touch near that eye. And that most of the time has more to do with the fact, and those of us that are wearing glasses could probably attest to it easier. It has to do with the fact that they're straining that eye more than usual. I don't know if that happens to you, Mike. I know you drive a truck. Sometimes, depending on the weather conditions, if the clouds, like I want to say about a month ago, I went fishing when I was driving back. It was a rainy day, but the glare of the sun was hitting in such a way on the road that you couldn't define the difference between the sky and the road. And it put such a strain on my eyesight that my eyes were tearing. Without me, I wasn't crying or anything. They were just the amount of stress that I was putting on them. So something like that may be happening to your dog. If it is, by all means, that is a vet issue. What I'm trying to get across to you guys today is, what do we do to prevent that? What do we do? Why wait until your dog is 6 years old to start giving them blueberries because the eyes are now foggy? It's too late. By that point, the damage is already done, man. And
I think that's a good point, Raul, and I think it's worth saying that like you said, preventative measure. If somebody will take action and keep the nutrition and vitamins and minerals where they should be throughout the dog's life, you will probably be just fine. Your dog will be fine, but more than likely, you're taking a big roll of the dice to assume that none of these things are going to happen to you. And then, in your dog's 6, 7, 8 year, oh no, this has happened. What can we do? And there's nothing you can do. Perhaps maybe there is, but there might not be. But there is if you catch it early or prevent it by treating the things that cause it ahead of time.
Yeah. And again, guys, that's why I prefer Nuvet NuJoint DS. You guys know, I started out feeding kibble 10 years ago. I then slowly but surely transitioned to feeding full blown raw. Then I evolved again, started feeding cooked. Now I'm at the point where I am feeding cooked with a little bit of kibble as a feeder, as a filler during wintertime, not during the summertime. Let me give you an example. This week I've experimented, right? That's how you grow, is by experimenting. So we experimented with coal, with cabbage. So basically at Walmart, they're selling these $2 bags of cabbage that's already been chopped up for you completely. And we're throwing those into our little crock pot, and we're boiling it along with the eggs, along with the pumpkin, and along with carrots. Now, before you jump off the cliff, I've spoken in the past that if your dog is having yeast issues, you may not want to feed carrots because they're high in sugar. You end up feeding the yeast. It's not my case. I don't have a dog with a yeast issue because we're on top of consistently looking at our dogs, feeding the right amount of things. And one of the reasons that I started feeding cabbage, believe it or not, is because I noticed 3 of my dogs, Mike, out of the blue, started doing the old butt scoop. So I
have experienced that here. We've had that before.
Yeah. And don't you love it when they do it right on the carpet when the neighbors come over?
It seems like that's the only place they want to do it, you know?
That's right, man. It's like, let me show y'all my skills. Right?
Yeah.
So anyways, my dogs actually, luckily for me, were doing it in the grass. But I caught them doing it. And it raised red flags in my head because I know full well what that means. Now, here's the thing, guys, and this is what this platform has been set up for such a long time. And that is that you have situations with your dogs that we are trying to bring forth to your attention. You're going to have in one ear, right, a little angel talking to you, and the other, or better yet, you might have 2 little devils talking to you at the same time. Not one of them has to be an angel. One of them could be your vet telling you, oh, it's this, that, the third, and you got to get that over there. Yeah, $400, that's it. You got it, right? And then you also got your groomer, right? We have to expel the anal glands. They must be expelled. Let me explain something to you. When you expel a dog's anal gland once, it's game over. You're going to have to keep expelling the anal glands. And that becomes a problem within itself. If you haven't smelled what your dog's anal glands smell like, if out the blue it smells like fishy, like sardine-ish, out of the blue, and your dog's not in heat or anything, and they're scooting their butt on the carpet or the grass or anywhere they can scoot their butt on, then that's usually a sign that those anal glands are backing up a little bit, right? Yes. Now, I've had a lot of people hit me up and ask me, Raul, so why is it, do I got to get them expelled? And this, well, let me just tell you this. If you're noticing your dog doing the old butt scoop, like I just showed you, if you have been checking their poop, if you've been noticing changes in their poop, the fix is a lot easier than what you think. Because the old butt scoot right here, what that's telling you is your dog needs firmer poop. Because firm poop, when it's coming out, it applies pressure by itself, naturally. You don't have to pay anybody to go expel anything. It will naturally expel those glands for you. How do you do that? Well, one of the things you need to give your dog to be able to do that is fiber. But don't go jump off a cliff. We're dealing with dogs, and dogs are carnivores. So you got to give them fiber, but it must be, first of all, the right type of fiber. And second of all, it cannot be an exaggerated amounts. You give them too much fiber, and rather than hardening the poop, you're going to put your dog into diarrhea. So it's a bit of a balancing act. But let me just give you two sources of fiber that we've used, one that I'm experimenting with right now, and I'm seeing good results. And like I said, cabbage is one of them, and the other one is green beans. So for the last 10 days or so, I've only given green beans to my dogs maybe twice. And I notice out the blue, they're doing the old butt scoot. So I said, okay, I get it. We got to get green beans back on board. But before we do that, why don't we just go with cabbage and let's see how that plays out. It's been playing out great. Okay, great.
You use the cabbage cooked or raw?
I'm giving it cooked right now.
Yeah.
I'm giving it cooked rather than raw. Because here's the thing. I had never given it to my dogs before. So typically when I'm giving a new vegetable to my dogs, I like to give it cooked because it's easier for them to want to eat it. If I just introduce them to raw cabbage, they may just not want to eat it. Now that they've tried cooked cabbage now for several days, I may just switch it over and go raw and see how they react to it.
Right.
But as simple as improving the type of fiber and firming their poop also with coconut oil may fix your problem without allowing this to get into a situation where it gets a little bit more complicated. Now, basically, something else you can give your dogs to firm the poop, right, is plain pumpkin. Now, I told you I was already giving them pumpkin, and I put it together with the cabbage, and it makes it that much more stronger. So the amount of cabbage that I'm giving my dogs is the equivalent of, this is per dog. Now, keep in mind, my dogs are anywhere between 76 to 100 pounds. The lower end of that, my dogs that are closer to 76, like Sunshine, she's getting about half a cup. That's it. I'm not blasting the hell out of it. I'm just giving her maybe half a cup. And that's of fiber, meaning that's a combination of the pumpkin along with the cabbage. Not
you do
just
it about half and half.
You could go half and half. You could go a quarter of one and 3/4 of the other. You could go plain pumpkin, green beans, and cabbage if you wanted to. Just don't go above that half a cup. Okay. Yeah, because then that's where you can get in trouble. The other thing some people do give is psyllium, which humans take it as well. Anal glands are supposed to empty when firm poop passes. So that's the concept behind it. If you're able to give your dog more fiber and you see the poop firming up, but that fishy smell doesn't go away, then you may have to end up either going to a vet or a groomer to have them expelled. Don't just go running there. Yeah.
I have people, call me about all kind of stuff and message me about just dog stuff and what to do about this and that and the other. And had a guy that he about calls me for anything he has going on with his dog. Hey, I'm thinking about doing this. I'm like, no, don't do that or whatever, And so he calls me so much that he thought this time, like, well, maybe I'll just make my decision without calling him, So and I go over there to see him this weekend, just yesterday. And he says, man, had the dog groomed and doesn't he look pretty? And I said, yeah, he looks great. And I said, I don't know what all they could do for him or whatever. He said, well, they cut his nails and got him cleaned up. And he said, and they expelled the anal gland. And I said, and he said, what, should I not have done that? And I said, all this time you've been calling me about your dog, and now you go and do a thing like this. I said, it's not that it's bad. It's that you're going to have it done from now on. So that's bad.
Yeah.
Because
here's the thing, Mike. And here's the thing: a lot of times, when somebody has a dog that has a yeast infection or has something going on, what they typically like to do is do what? Change the dog's food. And when you change the dog's food, you either make them constipated. Most of the time, you actually make their stool either wetter or you could even throw them to diarrhea. Now,
Our dogs
changes
are
in
very sensitive to that.
you're very sensitive. It changes in stool consistency, right? Such as diarrhea or constipation can actually lead. I didn't know this was a thing, but it's called anal sac disease, and that's the one that you have to constantly be getting expelled. But if you have a dog that's going regular and it's solid like it needs to be, not too solid where it's constipated, but solid enough where it has enough pressure when it's coming out, it will automatically expel it. Weight loss and addition of fiber to the diet can also be beneficial to this. Think about it for a minute. If the dog loses weight, right, and you're adding fiber, which is going to make the stool stronger, in theory, right, the pressures are going to be higher when the poop is coming out. And again, that's going to expel all the anal glands, everything you need to be expelled from it. So basically, poop is supposed to press the button, if you will. If the poop is too soft, the button doesn't get pressed. But if it's strong enough, then it presses the button and everything comes out. Now, leading to the very last thing that I wanted to bring up tonight, and you know what? I apologize to you guys because I haven't changed my picture over here from my cloudy eyes to my hold on a second. Let me remove this one. Let me add this one. Yeah, to my scooter, but I did show you guys a video, which I think was probably even better than showing you this right here as far as the scooting is concerned. The last topic that we're going to be hitting up on, let me go ahead and bring up the image file, is going to be none other, and I get hit up on this all the time. Tear stains. Why are tear stains happening, right? Let me say a couple things about tear stains. They're just not a cosmetic problem. So do not just ignore tear stains because you feel that they're not malignant, right? What owners usually notice is going to be either red or brown stains under the eyes, wet hair under the eyes. You may get some face odor, which is already, you should be getting concerned if you're able to smell something there. Staining gets worse on lighter colored dogs, obviously. And owners may keep wiping it and it may be coming back. Here's the simple support of that. And sometimes it's easier said than done. Clean and dry face care. Also, better bowls. I'm going to get into bowls here in a minute. Better water, right? That goes with the bowl. And better gut support. Right? So the basic steps are going to be wipe the face daily, dry the area after wiping, right? We don't want to leave anything wet on there for bacteria to colonize. You're going to trim the hair around the dog's eye, depending on what breed you have. Use stainless steel, glass, or ceramic bowls. I'm going to say it again. Use stainless steel, glass, or ceramic bowls. And clean the bowls daily. Right? So why is that? Well, because plastic bowls, and we all know dogs love chewing on plastic bowls or whatnot, may contain bacterial colonies that when the dog goes to drink water, you're transferring it from, when they're licking, they're wetting their face area. And when they're doing it, not necessarily the eyes, but around the muzzle area. And from there, the bacteria can actually move over to wherever is wet, which would be the eyes if they have eye stains, right? So basically, tear stains are connected to something called porphyrins. Okay, and I'm not going to get too technical and too scientific, but they're they're tied to something that's called porphyrins, and porphyrins can come out through the tears, through saliva, through the urine, and the digestive tract. This is important. Moisture under the eyes creates a staining zone. We all know that. Wet hair holds tear residue, bacteria, yeast, dirt, and food particles, right? So plastic bowls can get scratched and hold bacteria. This does not mean every tear stain is caused by the gut. However, it means tear stains can involve eyes, face hygiene, bacteria, diet, and gut support. So
that's one of the reasons why the best and most commonly used treatment for that is that, that angel eyes, and it's actually it's oral. They have wipes, but it's something you give the dog. They take it because it goes to the stomach.
Yes. Now keep in mind that probiotics, believe it or not, improving probiotics, as we mentioned, those what are they called again? Porphyrins, right? They come out through tears, saliva, urine, and digestive tract. So improving the gut health can help. What's funny is everything we spoke about today, whether it's through cloudy eyes, scooting, or tear stains, you can fix all three with dietary changes. You can either fix or improve all three with dietary changes, right? One of them is mechanical, which is the scooting, going to be adding more fiber. The cloudy eyes, you could add blueberries, strawberries, or a supplement that has antioxidants in it, like right here, Nuvet NuJoint DS, or like I said, buy strawberries or somehow get antioxidants and be consistent with it. And as far as the stains in the eyes, you got to make sure you clean those eyes. Make sure that water bowl, right, is clean after each use, or at least clean it daily. And also the water that you're putting there. I've had people hit me up that live out in the country and they're putting well water in their dog's bowl. The problem you have with that is a lot of that well water may have metal contaminants in it. And your dogs weren't meant to be drinking metal contaminated water. And so when they do, you're going to start seeing issues. You can start seeing issues with the skin depending what metal is accumulating in their bodies. All right. Shatri says, cabbage makes gas. A little tiny cabbage cooked just a wee bit makes no gas. Okay. I mean, I'm just giving you guys options and letting you know what I'm experimenting with. For me, gas is really not a deal breaker. I have dogs in the kennel area, so they're passing gas over there. They got plenty of fans to move that out the way. My main concern is to not have a dog, scooting on the grass, because you scoot on the grass today, no big deal. Maybe in a week from now, you're still scooting, maybe still no big deal. But a month from now, we're going to have a major problem. And I mean, I hate to bring this up. This is definitely not a political platform, but there is a war right now going on overseas that's affecting gas prices. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, but when you go to a vet's office, whatever, when gas prices go up, they exaggeratively raise prices to see your dog. And medication all of a sudden is costing so much because transportation costs. Now we got to triple the price. That's just the way it goes. So what I'm trying to get to you guys is to try to put out the fire on these three different things that is simple enough to do. And when you do it, you're sidestepping a larger bill further down the road. Okay, how many times have you shown up to the vet? Your dog has this fishy smell in the anal glands, and the vet wants to expel the anal glands. Of course, he or she does. It fits right into their business model. They know full well once they expel it once, they have to keep expelling it That means when you come to the office, that's a vet charge and then the expelling charge. Yeah, and then you're over here coming over, every so often, and you're getting hit with $80, $100, $120 bill. There you go. And you just and little did you know that if you firm their poop just a little bit, you wouldn't have to deal with all that, right?
It's hard to go to the vet without spending $400.
I just made a video this past week and it went viral, and I think it struck a nerve. And I think the nerve it struck is, and it's so true, when you go to the vet, first they charge you the vet's charge, right? That's there. Then this is a flea and tick free zone. That means is Big Pharma is going to stick you with their chemicals and you're going to pay for it because that's what they supposedly are. And either that or they won't see your dog. And then once you pay Big Pharma and you paid the vet visit, then you get to stick your hand in your pocket another $80, $100 for the one shampoo you wanted to get. What's crazy is I showed everyone in this last video I made, these $300, $250, $200 bills you're getting, and they're prescribing you the very same thing I could get at Tractor Supply for $23. It's really that simple. This is why I have always said the most important thing, and I'm a dog breeder, and Mike is a dog breeder too. The most important thing, the most important tool that is in any kennel is whatever that breeder has between his 2 ears. If you have the knowledge to know how to counteract many things, you're going to save a ton of money. The majority of dog breeders, and I know there's a lot of people here that don't care about dog breeding. You're mostly a dog owner. But the majority of dog breeders lose their business not because they have bad dogs, not because they weren't able to reproduce or anything like that. It's simply because you never took the time to put between your ears what you needed to learn so that it could save you money. Because every time you walk into a vet clinic and they realize you're a breeder, you're a walking dollar sign. That's how they view you.
It makes sense to think of it that way and to think of it, compared to humans. It's just like, the older you get, the more you learn about what your body needs. And, you can't, like when you're a kid, peanut butter and jelly and macaroni and cheese. And this is the food groups, right? But when you get older, you can't get away with that stuff the same way. And you're learning about to have balanced nutrition and which gives me better mental focus and clarity and better body function and all that stuff. You got to have these different things. It's not a stretch to understand that the dog is the same way. The dog needs things to run its body properly and to have a nice, long, healthy life, just like we do.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm going to hit on a couple of comments we have here. And Saratha was saying her piebald dog, Nimbus, has had bad test stains or eye stains. Now she didn't previously. She is 6. She then says she's on Nuvet NuJoint and had some stainless bowl. Coincidentally, I guess when she was writing this, I was talking about it. It might be the water Phoenix was, or I guess it was treated and not the best water. Yeah, if you want to try something out in Saratha, if you can, at least where in my neck of the woods, bottled water is cheap enough where I can do it. I could buy a whole case of, I think, 24 Ozarka for like $6, I think, or something.
They make some of those deals that screw on the faucet. You can get one made by Brita and a few other places that actually screw on the faucet itself. And that'll catch heavy metals if it doesn't catch anything else. So those work pretty good and they're pretty affordable and last for longer than you would think.
Miss Christina Higginson says they're always going to do blood work to make sure. Yeah, blood work is part of a veterinarian's business model. They want to run every test. So let me give you guys a little bit of insight on my girl Aruba. Is this girl over here? Now, for those of you that haven't been following me for years, Aruba is now 9 years old officially. And she was a breeding female until she was 4. And by then, we went ahead and spayed her, and we retired her from breeding. And all we've had her here in our yard, of course. We let her do whatever she wants. We call her Mama Aruba. And whenever
She's quite the surrogate mother.
Yeah, whenever we have a female that has a litter, we put the pups with her once we remove them from mom, so that Mama Aruba could teach them. And Mama Aruba teaches them some good stuff. She also teaches them some bad habits here and there, like jumping in the mud and that sort of thing. Long story short, 2 weeks ago, it was real hot, and I started hosing her down with the hose, and she flipped over on her belly. And I seen her belly, and I saw one of her back breasts was inflamed. It looked like a little golf ball was in there. So I went, I touched it, and it was hard. And I was like, oh, no, not again. For those of you that don't know, 2 years ago, I lost my girl, Azu, which was the founding female, along with Aruba, for this yard. She was also spayed. And she ended up having hardening in her mammary glands, and it ended up being a malignant tumor, and she ended up passing away. So, long story short, I took Aruba to the vet. Actually, I called them and I said, how much would you charge me for Aruba? Now, Aruba had been there previously because I think it was 2 years ago, she got bit by a snake on one of her toes, and the venom didn't kill her, but it ruined the toe. We had to end up amputating. So to make a long story short, I ended up calling the vet. Vet said, "Yeah, we'll do the surgery for $600." I said, "Okay." I thought that was fair. Took her up there. When I took her up there, then it was we need to run labs so that we could then go ahead and do a biopsy so we can know if this is good or bad. So really what they were trying to sell me once I got there was their business model. Mm-hmm. Now, the reason I say that is because Aruba's 9 years old. She had 3 C-sections. She had a hysterectomy when I spayed her. She then had the toe that was amputated. Now, I feel it's my obligation, of course, to remove whatever tumor she has there, malignant or not. What's not going to happen is you're not about to get Aruba and run her through the coals so that you can make a buck off her. She's not going to be a guinea pig. My wife and I already concluded that we're going to go ahead and remove this tumor.
Yeah, so you don't need a biopsy. You just need to remove whether it's malignant or not.
Yeah, if it comes back, it comes back, and she's still going to go jump in the mud and have fun until one day she can't do it no more, and then we'll put her down. It's just the way it's going to go. I prefer quality of life over anything else, right? So, anyways, so I said that to the vet. You can almost tell. She wasn't upset or anything like that, but you could almost tell. It's almost like when you go somewhere and somebody tries to sell you something and you shoot them down, and they're like, "Damn, like I didn't get the sale," type of deal. Anyways, she did the surgery. She calls me up, of course, and says that not all mammary glands were able to be removed. And then she started stating reasons that even if I wanted to, I can't overcome them because 1, I was not there. 2, I'm not the one performing the surgery. She was saying, that the skin wasn't that good, that, she had to stretch it, that then there could be a problem, that the other mammary glands weren't showing anything, and it didn't constitute the removal of them, this, that.
Basically just opening the door for another round of procedure.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah, but that's what they're trying to do.
It's possible. That's all I'm saying. It's possible. What's unfortunate is this, whether you like it or not. When that vet goes in there to perform surgery on your dog, they make the decisions in there. and you don't know 100% what is their main objective or their main motivator or whatever. You just don't know.
This is where knowledge is power, because the more you know, the more you learn here or anywhere else. If you get good information and you know kind of what's going on when you go in there, you can save yourself a lot of money. Because if you go in there and you say, something's wrong with my dog, I have no idea what's causing it, these are the symptoms, what can we do? Well,
Right.
it's hard to be sure. We're going to do all these things right here, and then we'll get a better guess on what's going on. Don't worry. And then and you get into some real money that way. It's better to say what you don't want.
Here's where it gets complicated, Mike. I can tell you, I worked as a nurse. You know this, ICU nurse, dialysis, and ICU. It's unfortunate, man, but we live in a world where sometimes before a doctor walks in a hospital, he's got to consult an accountant and he's consulting his lawyer. And when he walks in there, a lot of patients believe that it's their conversation and their decision with their practitioner or their doctor. And the fact is, there's a third invisible entity, which is probably the most powerful one in that room, that a lot of people don't understand. And that's the insurance company. And that insurance company is the one that's going to determine what you are and you're not going to get. Period.
They're the puppet masters, really.
Really. And so the only reason I mention that, and I don't want to go off the rails, the reason I mention that is because that doctor, I've seen doctors make statements that would make your jaw drop. Yet people that find themselves in a situation where their loved ones is, in the hospital for the first time in an ICU and this and that, you look to the doctor thinking that there's this moral, ethical, entity that's going to put your loved one's life, ahead of everything. And the fact is, there are variables. And even if he or she wanted to do whatever they could for your loved one, there are still hurdles and hoops and things that they have to go through that either ties their hands or not. And I already mentioned insurance. So think about a vet. A vet, most dogs are not insured, I would dare to say, because it hasn't become legally binding, where if you own a dog, you must have insurance. At least not yet. That's coming, right? Because the elites need to get paid. That's going to happen at some point, but it hasn't happened yet. So when you come in there and you tell them, okay, I know what I want. This is what I want. Don't sell me anything else. That's good, because you know what you want, right? What's not good is the fact that that doctor can decide once they go in there what's really going to go down.
Yeah, they can call an audible on you real quick, for sure.
And that's a fact. We have a couple of we have a couple of comments here. New Blood says, always read the ingredients of kibble and wet dog food and research. Raul gives information, but he also wants you to research it for yourself. So don't just repeat what you hear. All right. So let me go into this little side conversation. I think it's interesting. I've been taking a look at it, haven't wanting to bring it up just yet, but I'm going to bring it up now. So we have Pi 1805 saying there's so many narratives saying kibble causes health problems for dogs. Is this true, or should one stick with wet canned food? All right, Pi 1805. What it sounds like to me is like you're either a new dog owner or you're researching just now. Definitely dry dog food. I have sat here and spoken over and over again, which is one of the main reasons why I constantly recommend Nuvet NuJoint DS, which is this little QR code you're seeing over here. And it's 2 bottles. There's a green and a blue bottle. The reason I recommend them is because the way dry dog food gets put through an extruder and is cooked at high heats and the moisture is taken out of it, it affects many things. One of the things that affects is it degrades vitamins. Look up vitamin C. It starts degrading, we know, at less than 140 degrees. And they got to cook whatever they're cooking at over, between 300 and 350 degrees. So by the time your dog gets that vitamin C, is it really vitamin C? And what's left of that vitamin C then has to go through oxidative stress, which we started talking about, the cloudy eyes, right? So what's oxidative stress? Oxidative stress is nothing more than the vitamin C on that kibble touching air. That's it. It starts going rampant over time. It starts degrading. It's no longer as useful as it can be. It's not bioavailable, right? So, yes, kibble is not necessarily the best solution to your dogs whatsoever. In fact, if you're only feeding kibble, I don't care which one it is, I call that a survival bowl. That's what that is. It's not a strive bowl. Is a survival bowl, because the way that it's processed, the dog's body is going to have to borrow from Peter to pay Paul. And when that's happening, if you're a dog breeder or even a dog owner, that's when you start seeing orthopedic issues. Orthopedic issues like what, Raul? Okay, we've spoken in the past, easty-westy feet. You see dogs, they got their feet walking, they look like Charlie Chaplin. That's not right. That's not how they're supposed to look. But a lot of times it's caused because the owner is buying kibble, and that kibble has these vitamins in it that once it gets cooked, they're not as bioavailable as they were before they were cooked. So by the time your dog gets it, it needs to make a decision. Do I make this vitamin C viable first and foremost for my brain, my heart, my liver, my spleen, my kidneys, or do I go ahead and make sure we keep them feet straight? Yeah, as you can imagine, keeping the feet straight, it's at the very bottom of the priority list because your dog has to survive first. And this is how you start getting orthopedic and degenerative issues being caused simply because of the food that you're feeding. Now, wet food, and you made a statement over here, should we be feeding wet food? Oh, sorry, that wasn't it. It's over here. Should we be feeding canned food? Here's the thing about canned food, and I made 101 videos talking about it. There are ingredients in canned food that has been proven to cause cancer, like carrageenan. I've documented this very well in very many videos. So do you feed kibble and screw up your dog, or do you feed wet food and run the risk of giving your dog cancer? So later on in the conversation, Kyle says, bro, kibble's horrible, and so is wet canned food. He's right. Best thing is a raw or even cooked diet. Absolutely. Check out some of the videos on here for more info. He's right. Lots of info here to learn, bro. He's right.
That's one of the greatest things about QBN is to be able to go, if you're a member, and go in there and go in the search bar and just type in keywords, anything you can think of about your dog. It would be very difficult to type in a topic that hasn't been covered. It will have multiple videos on anything you could come up with to help you figure out how to deal with any certain issue with your dog or with a kennel or with anything. And so
you're absolutely right. And here's the thing, Mike, and I like the fact you brought that up, because New Blood says, always read the ingredients of kibble and wet dog food and research. Raul gives information, but, and I love this New Blood kennel, but he also wants you to research it for yourself. Don't just repeat what you hear. Here's the deal, guys. I'm going to tell you this right now. And if you're watching this for the first time or you're watching this for the 10th time, this is not a lazy channel. if you want to go watch creators that copy and paste what we talk about, go for it. Sooner or later, you're about to hit a wall. Okay. Here, we're not only going to give you the information and give you the insight, but you also need to put your part, because we've been on now for 50 minutes. I can't give you everything you need in 50 minutes. It's impossible. It's impossible. We haven't even touched on genetics. We haven't even gone that route. If I went that route alone, we're 50 minutes, 50 days talking on genetics. So my whole point is, he's absolutely right. New Blood Kennels, research your ingredients, watch the videos, learn, right? Not only learn, try and challenge me. If you think that what I'm saying is wrong, or better yet, fact check me. This way you can decide for yourself what level of credibility I have, and not just go off of whatever talking head is saying something that sounds right and go along with it. Because there's a lot of creators out there copying our content, acting like they know what the hell they're talking about. I've invited several of them. In fact, I have friends of mine invite several of them to come here talk on this platform, and they forget about refusing. They won't even respond. Because they know full well you bring them here and we have a nutritional conversation, a genetic conversation, and that's when the mask comes off. That's when the whole thing goes down the drain. So it just is what it is, man. Let's see. Knowing is half the battle, isn't it? Yeah, G.I. Joe, back in the days when I was a kid. I will check out more videos. Thanks for the info. You got it, Pi 1805. 100%. Mike, anything else you wanted to add to tonight, man?
Man, if you don't stay real all the time and you tiptoe into it, it can be a scary thing. But I would highly recommend that people just, find a source. That's how I found QBN. I was looking for a place in the beginning, 5 years ago to, educate myself about this breed that I was in love with, and figure out what steps to take to get into taking care of my dogs properly. And found this guy educating online, QBN Kennel, Raul Fagundes, and I started fact checking everything myself and taking notes and fact checking. And then it was through fact checking him 100 times that I said, you know what? This is where I want to make my home at. This is where I want to trust that I can get good information. This is where I decided to take root. And here we are today. But that's funny you mentioned that, because that's what got me to stay.
No, absolutely, man. And I appreciate it. Just one last thing, guys, letting you know, man, Nuvet NuJoint DS. These are the multivitamins that we use here in our yard. We've been using it now for several years. This is what we stand on. These multivitamins and joint support and anti-inflammatory, they're cold pressed. They're not cooked, completely bioavailable to your dogs. I've had so many people whose dogs' feet have gone east-west. I've had so many people that are having dogs with skin issues that really isn't a skin issue, meaning, yes, it's showing up as a skin issue, but sometimes it could be an immune deficiency issue because you're feeding food that has been processed in a particular way that it can't provide the nutrients that the dog really needs. And I'm not just talking about protein, macronutrients like carbohydrates, protein, and fats. I'm talking about things like vitamin C, right? Which your dog probably uses more than any other vitamin out there. New Blood says, do your research because you'll get in-depth information personally that you will never know yourself. Side note, I've noticed pregnant females are more honest on what they prefer to eat. All right, like the insight. I have a female that currently on kibble, but giving her raw as well for additional nutrients. She'll go for that first. Okay, so she goes to the raw first. All right, thanks for sharing that. And that is true. Typically, and right now I'm cooking for my dogs, by the way, but typically whenever they see something raw, that's the first thing they go for. That's how a dog tells you what they like more than anything else. But, a lot of people have objections to feeding raw. I could understand if you have a 2-year-old and you're afraid that maybe, you know, salmonella or anything, they could get anything like that. I can understand you as a parent being more concerned about your child before the dog in that particular sense. I get it.
Great reason to cook the food.
Yeah, you can just cook it, and then you're not running that risk. By the way, man, let me just say this: New Blood Kennels, man, you've been on point tonight, man. And so what I'm gonna do, New Blood, is we're gonna give you a spin on the prize wheel, brother. Can you see the prize wheel on the screen, Mike?
Yes, sir.
You can. All right, man. Yes. So here we go. Here we go. There you go. Let's see what we get. Let's see what we get.
Come on.
There it is. There it is. Okay, hold on a second. Hold on a second. All right. Tell you what, man. Tell you what. Nobody else does this. We're going to do it. I didn't put it on full screen. I'm going to put it on full screen, and we're going to go ahead and spin it. All right. So I'm going to give you a free spin. Here we go.
That was a warm-up. Another spin.
That was a warm-up spin. There you go. Okay, Nuvet. Oh, goodness, man. You got close to getting some free Nuvet. That's all good, man. That's all good, fam. There you go. Let me just go ahead and bring us back over here. We got a couple of comments. Let me go over those quickly. Brian Hernandez. So I saw your video about making gorilla milk. Man, talk about.
That's a classic, baby.
Talk about years ago on the gorilla
That's
milk,
a
man.
classic.
Gorilla milk. And you posted about 6 years ago. Yeah, he says, if I'm not mistaken, and one of the ingredients is chicken liver. But if I'm not mistaken, I thought you stated, yeah, you no longer give chicken liver due to hormones they give animals nowadays. So do you still add that to gorilla milk recipe now? Excellent question, Brian. No, I don't. And this is what I urge a lot of you to do. Is that if you're seeing a video where I'm talking about 6 years ago, whatever I'm talking about on the latest video is what I have evolved into. So let me explain to you. When I used to give gorilla milk and I was adding chicken livers in there, okay, I then started getting dogs who would get their blood work, and when it would come back with certain markers for tumors and cancers. And so I pivot, right? I'm a nurse. We assess, we look at what's there, and we pivot when we have to. And so I'm glad you're bringing it up. And so that there's no more confusion for yourself or anybody else watching this. If you see me on an older video, like he's saying here, this video was made 6 years ago. Let me see. Here you go. 6 years ago. Think about it. In 6 years, I have evolved. This is why I experiment with, or recently just experimented with cabbage, right? This is a continual thing. This doesn't, because if I would have stuck to just giving chicken livers from back then I would have a whole yard full of dogs with markers that I wouldn't want. So I went ahead and pivoted. So from here on out, if you see a video that's older, and you see me contradicting myself with a newer video, you might have missed the 5 previous videos where I stated that I was shifting. But whatever the newest video is saying, that's what I have evolved into. Okay. So thank you for bringing that up. Why does my dog still have?
That was before NuVet, but NuVet would be a great replacement for that chicken liver in that same concoction there.
Yes. So yes, Mike, thank you so much for bringing me back to that. You're saying they're no longer give them the chicken liver due to hormones they give animals nowadays. So do you still add that to gorilla? No. What I add instead is NuVet, the green bottle, and NuJoint DS, the blue bottle. That's what I'm adding instead of either chicken or beef liver. By the way, if you're watching this on TV, you can go ahead and take a picture of the QR code. You also get 13% off with AutoShip. All right. And yes, I don't give that to my dogs. I give them Nuvet NuJoint DS. This way I know I'm not giving them hormones, growth hormones, steroids, yada, yada, yada. None of that.
It's not because the liver's not good for the dogs. It's because it's very hard to get regularly liver without the toxins and the things that cause these tumors and different things that are in the liver that you buy. If you had your own cattle farm that didn't get all these different, steroids and antibiotics and all these different things that and different toxins and stuff that get put into these animals when they're mass produced. If you had your own farm and you could get them yourself, it would be great for the dog.
That's different.
But if you have your own chickens, buy a bag of chicken livers, it's going to be what he said. It's going to be something you're going to have issues with.
Yeah, if you're on a farm and you got free ranging chickens, and you're killing so many chickens, whatever. Yeah, by all means, you can give that. But I'm talking about those of us, the great majority of us, that have to buy it, and it's coming already tainted. It's
quick, cool what you're saying but before we go, because it's that led to the evolution that you speak of. We researched it in the beginning and found that the liver was great for the dog and that it had all these benefits and not knowing at the time that when you buy this liver in the store, it's got these other problems. And then when the problems presented themselves, we recalibrated and then got into NuVet. Well, this replaces that very well. And so like you were saying a minute ago, that's just a testament to the evolution.
It's evolution. Right. It's evolution. And this is why I say that the dog breeder and dog owner, the most important thing you got to have is what you got between your ears. Okay. So just real simple. If you were to talk to an old time breeder and he tells you, I just feed chicken livers, and you just follow the lead and just feed chicken livers like a good sheep, then it's going to give your dog certain nutrients, but then it's also giving your dogs things that you really don't want in there. Mm-hmm. Then whose fault truly is that? It's definitely not the guy who gave you the advice. It's yours that you never evolved. You never, dove into it. Real quick, let me go into these so we can get on out of here. GK says, thanks for your content. I found you recently, like a week ago, and I'm watching a friend's dog with yeast issues. The bath tutorials and diet videos are helpful. Thank you, GK. Rissy, number below, man. Make sure to become a member for as little as $5 a month. You can go down below. In fact, next week, we're going to have a QR code for anybody that wants to become a member for as little as $5. We can have a direct conversation. Mr. Glock, I feed him diamond food with oatmeal, pumpkin, and sardines. That's it. Okay. That's okay. That you're doing that if it's working for you. Shade Tree, it's a joy to cook lightly, farm a bowl with all the anti-inflammatory oxidants. I agree, Shade Tree. When I see my dogs, when I see a 9-year-old female like Aruba, guys, when I went there, again, she had a benign. By the way, the doctor said when she opened her up, the tumor seemed like it was benign. We'll see. But anyways, this girl jumps off of the car, runs up in there. By the way, she's a spoiled brat. I let her do whatever she wants. When we're in there, she damn near wanted to jump on the examination table. She's 9 years old. Fireball runs up and down with the rest of my dogs. He's 9 years old. What's happening? What's causing it? Why are they able to do that? The mere fact that we're giving Nuvet NuJoint DS consistently. It's got all the anti-inflammatories, antioxidants, yada, 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 vitamins the dogs need. It's all bioavailable and ready to go. This is important. If you think, oh, no, forget it, I'm not going to get that. I'm going to get the blueberries. First of all, blueberries cost you like $6 for a small little tray like this. And you're going to go through them pretty quick. By the way, if you do buy the tray, I do recommend you freeze them, because if you put them in the fridge within a week, half of the blueberries start going bad or whatnot. So just throwing that out there. Brian says, thank you for the clarification. Y'all are both very informative and appreciate all the facts y'all state. Thank you, man. Love Money Mike says, Shade Tree, number love Shade Tree. Mr. Glock, but he has diarrhea. Should I switch to Diamond Kibbles? Mr. Glock, man, my recommendation is watch QBN, watch our videos. I've spoken on how to fix diarrhea and, not to feed kibble, and
go to that search bar, like I said earlier, and put those keywords in there, and it'll pull up videos talking about all that stuff. And the reason why we send people to the videos, because they're there like a library of information, but also because we can't go into all that with every question, but it's better to reference you to where the information's at so you can learn it for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. All you got to do is go to our homepage, find the little search magnifying glass, click on it, put dog's dietary needs, dog diet, dog with diarrhea, whatever. It's gonna go through my transcripts, find the information, and then bring up the videos for you. In fact, let me show you what it looks like this way.
It's
You, yeah, you can
it's going to
definitely
have
see.
more. It's going to have more than you can watch in one sitting.
Oh, definitely, man.
Yeah.
It sure is. Let
If
me
you
go
put
ahead
the
and
word
bring it up.
diarrhea in there, it's gonna have more than you could watch before midnight tonight. You'd be up all night trying to watch that.
Yeah, let me go ahead and bring this up so you guys can check it out. Oh, man, I wanted. There you go. Let me bring down the NuVet. All right, so that's the screen, right? That's the screen right there. And all you got to do, all right, you type QB and kennel up here, and you know, in fact, you could just go to YouTube, right? When you go to YouTube, boom, right? Here's where we're at right now, live. All you got to do is type QBN kennel. Whoa. There you go. QBN kennel. Boom, brings you there. You're going to click on our logo. It's going to bring you to our page. There we are. And don't go crazy. All you got to do is click here, put diarrhea, and click enter. Dog with diarrhea, 3 simple ingredients, dirty water bowl, can dogs eat bananas, the baking soda bath, the chicken allergy, too much. So everywhere in these videos, diarrhea was spoken on, right? It's really that simple. If you wanted to put, for example, diet, right? It's going to go ballistic because that's one of the topics I cover the most. In fact, you could even check out my dude Kyle over here, who years ago, let me.
Hill science.
For some reason,
It's
there's no
veterinary
audio.
approved.
I can
Oh,
hear
there
it
we
on
go.
my
Did
end.
Raul say?
Here we go.
Hill science. It's veterinary approved. What did Raul say about hill science? God?
No, it's Raul from the Q. And obviously, you didn't watch my dog food review video. You would have known that that is the one food I would never recommend. I went ahead and left you a link in the description, so check it out.
I'm just gonna walk away. Walk away.
Right. So, so there you have it, guys. It's really that simple. We have pretty much chewed it and spit it out for you, made it simple. All you got to do is go to our homepage, hit that magnifying glass, and put whatever you're looking for. Brian Hernandez, how long does gorilla milk stay good in the fridge? Brian, I really couldn't answer that. And you're probably thinking, why? And the answer is, I always make a fresh batch. It usually doesn't last me.
It's got perishables in it, so there's meat in it and some things like that. So a few days, would all I would recommend.
Well, it has it's got sauerkraut up in there. We got probiotics up in there. Literally, I have enough dogs where I can make a good amount and it all gets eaten in one day. Really that simple. And if not at one day, 2 days most. So better yet, Brian, do me a favor, make a batch and you tell me how long it can last. Either way, let me bring my dude from the back. My dude, Holly Wizzle. Holly Wizzle, what's going on, bro?
What's up?
Hey, man. Lead us off, man, tonight.
Let's do it. It's your boy Hollywood Holland, your boy in the back of the queue. We're catching you on the next one. Boom.
All right. CBK's Michael H.
Money Mike, man, Creek Bank Kennel out of Arkansas, your co-host with the most, and we'll be catching you on the next one.
Hey, you already know we do this every Sunday at 8 p.c.st. If your dog's going through something serious or even not, I strongly recommend you either catch us live, preferably, especially when you become a member. If not, catch us on the replay. But the reason I suggest that you become a member is because if you ask a question and say, for example, you have this little symbol next to your name, I'm going to make sure your questions get answered before we get off the live. Like right now, Miss Fredia, she said, "What's up, Bully fam? Happy Father's Day to all. None below Miss Fredia Strivia. We're going to be back here again next Sunday at 8 p.c.st. You already know it's been Raul from the Q, and I'll be catching you.
We are going for a whole hour. Straight dog talk, and the song. Jump on in and speculate. Show up on time, don't be weak and late. We are community, so don't hate.